At this time, I call to order the Campbell County Board of Education regular meeting for April the 18th, 2022, 6 o'clock p.m. here at the Alexandria Educational Center in Alexandria, Kentucky. First item is to approve the agenda.
Madam Chair, I recommend approval of the agenda as presented.
Board has heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion from the board to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now I ask everyone to please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Campbell County Middle School student Alexandra Hess, and then our mission statement to be led by Campbell County Middle School student Taylor Gillespie.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The mission of Campbell County School District, in partnership with students, staff, partners, and community, is to do whatever it takes to ensure student success in college, career, and life.
Thank you, Alexandra and Taylor. Next item would be our stars. Ms. Connie Polgears.
Thank you. If we could have our board members come down in the front, please. We have much to celebrate this evening. So our first group that we will recognize this evening will be our Campbell County Middle School wrestlers. So if we could have our wrestling team from the middle school please come on out. We'd like to congratulate several of our Campbell County Middle School wrestlers who took home either first or second place in the regional tournament. These wrestlers include Matthew Doms, Hayden Simon, Braden Allender, Deacon Heisler, Clayton Newspickle, and their coach, Luke Tucker. Congratulations. And boys, if you could come back to the middle for a picture, that would be great. Thank you, guys. Next, we'd like to congratulate the Campbell County Middle School academic team. The Campbell County Middle School academic quick recall team went undefeated, winning first place at their regional competition. In regional Governor's Cup action, Allie Raw won first place in science, Hannah Zamana captured first place in math, and Mara Ryder took second place in arts and humanities. This group consists of Hannah Zamana, Ethan Murphy, Ian Post, Sanjay Santosh, Alexandra Hess, Allie Raw, Mara Ryder, Kevin Webb, and Abe Zingle, and their coach, Megan Ryder. Thank you. Next, we'd like to recognize the Campbell County High School boys basketball team. They were the 37th district champions this year. They ended their season with a 20-11 record, highlighted by their 9th consecutive 37th district championship. The Camels ended their season with a 12-game win streak before falling in the regional semifinals to Bracken County in an overtime thriller. All in all, the Camels basketball team had a terrific season. They look to carry a lot of motivation and momentum into next season. The team members include Jaden Combs, Garen Jackson, Levante Parker, Cole Johnson, Nate Smith, Brock Sorgenfry, sorry about that, these names are tough, Connor Weinel, Desmond Davey, Jacob Gross, Hayden Hamilton, Keegan Hill, Trevor Williams, Garrett Seary, Trent Sorgenfry, and their coach, Mr. Eric Russell. Congratulations. Next, we'd like to recognize the Campbell County High School boys wrestling team, who finished in second place at the KHSAA 6th Region Tournament. At the semi-state tournament, the team took home third place, and we would like to recognize Charlie Alford, Jim Ayers, Bryce Denneman, Mason Orth, Kyle Richmond, Jeremiah Wilbers, Braden Wells, Jonah Bowers, Micah Bowers, Jason Holden, and Oren Stacy, and their coach, Mike Bancamper. Congratulations. And one thing to add there, 4 individual high school wrestlers competed and placed in the top 5 in the state tournament. And this includes Micah Bowers at 5th place, Bryce Denneman 5th place, Mason Orth 4th place, and Jonah Bowers at 2nd place. So congratulations again, gentlemen. And last but not least, I'd like to congratulate many of our students who were selected to the Kentucky All-State Choirs. Congratulations to the high school and middle school choir for having multiple students selected this year. This is a record year for Campbell County High School as 15 students were chosen. This is the highest honor for a Kentucky high school choral student. So the choir members selected to All-State include Faith Alford, Dane Frudenberg, Morgan Knight, Eliza Schnitzler, Liam Stewart, Olivia Watson, Grace Bowser, Aubrey Cly, Bailey Cly, Emily Zingle, Zach Nelson, Jeremiah Geisman, Carly Higas, Grayson Hedger, Elia Mower, Taylor Gillespie, Isabella Sithole, Adeline Birch, Annalise Huff, Zoe Little, Madeline Osterhodge, I apologize if I'm butchering these, Reagan Perkins, Reese Ryan, Haley Jones, Mariah Connolly, and their coaches Josh Huff and Melissa Murata. We'd also like to give a special congratulations to Coach Melissa Murata, who was elected to the AOSA National Board of Trustees. This is the American Orff Schwalwerk Association. It's a professional organization with a membership of over 3,500 music teachers. She is a music teacher at Campbell Ridge Elementary. Congratulations. And that concludes our stars for this evening. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that works better. You just straight out.
At this time, the board will now be in a brief recess. Next item will be our school report. This month, Grants Lick Elementary, Principal Emily Hamilton.
Good evening, everyone. I do have, I believe, one board member here, one of my site-based members, Miss Shelley Price, not Price. I have two Shelleys. I have Shelley Baker and Shelley Price. Shelley Baker, so thank you for being here. So it's been a really exciting year at GLE. We like to have fun, as you can tell. That is our mascot. His name is Slick. Up top, that is Dr. Booklove, our librarian, Miss Atkins, which We were glad to get her. She moved here from Texas. The kids love it when Dr. Book Love shows up. And that's just a student down there from our Living Wax Museum. So this year we had several focus, literacy and family engagement, academic rigor, behavior, school climate, and the profile of a graduate. These are just some pictures of the exciting things that are going on at Grand Slick every single day. For literacy and family engagement, if you have your phones, you can actually scan the QR codes. One of the things that by Bright Ideas and my staff, when they hear me say their name, especially like Miss Atkins, when I say Miss Atkins, she usually takes off running because I have a bright idea that's going to cause a lot of work, was to kill several birds with one stone. And we have literacy family movie nights, and these are a culminating event after our students by grade level have completed a book study. During these book studies, they complete an activity. These QR codes are actually book talks that first graders completed with Miss Atkins when they finished their Polar Express unit. As you can see in the bottom left hand, that's a second grade student, and he is talking to his parents about his book study over dinner. So we're really trying to hone in on that literacy and that learning loss we had with reading through the pandemic, but we're also trying to enable our parents to help us with that. So after they have the book talk with their parents at dinner, we have Jill Swords, who is our reading interventionist, and she talks to the families about different strategies, and she has an ongoing website that they can go to for different strategies that they can help their student with reading at home. We have a meal. That's Miss Crowder down there, smiling very big. She's our family resource coordinator that we share with Riley, and she does a phenomenal job of organizing meals and things like that to really get the families in and just make GLE that home feeling that it's known for. After we have our meals and we do our book talks and talk about literacy, then we go to the gym and we enjoy the movie that's tied into the book. We also were able to give, through some, Dr. Wilson was able to help us purchase books for each child. So after the book study, the child gets to take home those books and have it forever to read and enjoy. Some great books, The Polar Express, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Because of Winn-Dixie, How to Eat Fried Worms, if you guys remember that from your youth, Mr. Popper's Penguins, and Hoot. And we actually had penguins come in last week for our students to see. The other thing that we've tied in, and I'll talk a little bit more, with the profile of a graduate is college and career readiness. And along with every one of these book studies, we bring in someone that has a career that's illustrated somewhere in the book. So we had the conductor from the Polar Express up in Lebanon come in. We had, trying to think, throughout Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, we had Allison Rogers from Channel 5 News, the meteorologist, come in. Kids loved that. We've had a chef come in, a restaurant owner come in. We had the vet, Dr. Crowley from Grand Slick Vet, come in. They really enjoyed that. The penguins, not only did they talk about the penguins, but the folks from Newport Aquarium talked about all the different career options and all the different types of educations that are required for the different jobs that are available. And we, for Hoot, we are having animal rescue come in, so they'll talk about those jobs as well. So tied it into a lot of different things that we have going on at Grand Slick. Academic rigor, of course, that's something that is ongoing, but this year, all of the elementary schools adopted the MyView curriculum, and my teachers have really been gung-ho on perfecting their art with this curriculum. We've had instructional coaches and instructional leads really come in and help, and a lot of my teachers have become model classrooms. We also have been doing the book study on grade instruction, as well as revisiting the formative learning cycle. A lot of those things I don't want to say weren't done, but they sort of fell to the wayside when we were doing virtual learning. They weren't done as well as they could have been done in person. So the teachers really led the charge with this and really wanted to make sure that they were giving the students their all every single day. We've partnered up, the teachers have partnered up, and they've actually used the district learning walk form, and they've done learning walks with each other and really had some great honest conversations. Now they're in the process of videotaping one another, and they're going to do self-reflections. So they're really taking it to heart and making sure they're being their best for their students every day. This is some of our map data. We know where we're strong, and we are definitely strong in math. We have a great, we've had a great math interventionist, and I believe all but 2 of my teachers have actually worked through the KCM math grant. So math talks and things like that are very abundant at GLE. The teachers are very confident with that. Our reading, as with pretty much everyone, that's where we have seen our struggles, especially with the gap produced from the wonderful pandemic. But like I said previously, my teachers recognize that. They recognize their areas of growth, and they're taking ownership for it. But we're also want to focus the kids taking ownership with it. So my next slide, last Thursday actually, we had a MAP and KSA mentoring session, which thank you, Ms. Windbigler and Ms. Schultz. They, as well as some other stakeholders, Commissioner Bessaker, Mr. Baroni from Woodmen of the World, as well as some central office staff came, and every student, grades 3 through 5, got a one-on-one time for up to 10 minutes talking about what their goals are in the classroom, their goals are for MAP testing, as well as KSA testing, and the kids absolutely loved it. They ate up that one-on-one time and that adult-like conversation. They really enjoyed it, so thank you again for coming. We knew before school started that behavior was going to be something that we needed to address. I don't think any principal in the world didn't anticipate that happening. So some of the things that we did, we carried on the tradition of the cardinal pride, and they have a saying that we say every day after the pledge, and the kids know if an adult says cardinal, they all put their hands up and say pride, and they're silent, and they do a phenomenal job. Some of the other things that we did implement PBIS, which is something that most of us are familiar with. Just reinforcing our expectations, and every month, if the students meet the expectations of having all their work turned in, passing grades, no office behavior referrals, and good attendance, then we have some type of celebration. And it's been everything from spraying me with silly string to making our own microphones out of toilet paper holders and singing. So the kids have really enjoyed it, and it's been a lot of fun for the staff too, just to get back and having fun with the kids. The other thing that we implemented in all elementary schools and middle schools come February 1st was the PASS program. My PASS teacher, Hope Reynolds, has just taken this and ran with it. It has been absolutely amazing. We've seen tremendous growth from the students involved. She's doing a great job of teaching the kids about their behaviors, about how their brain works, and about how to extinguish those behaviors and learn other coping skills. So she wasn't happy with me about the picture, but that was the best picture I had. But she has done a great job, and we have really seen great growth in all of our students with behavior. School climate, it was sort of ironic. I had this on my radar, and then when the teachers took their survey, that was probably where we scored the lowest as far as their being comfortable with diversity. And so when we had one of our plan days, we actually sat down with the survey as a staff, sat in a big circle in the cafeteria and really talked about it. And they want to make sure, because GLE is not known for diversity, it simply is not. But the students that are there, that are diverse, we had a school culture, or a self-culture day, and as you can see, this one little guy, he wore his, that outfit is for a wedding in India, and he stood up for his class, and he asked to, I want to tell my friends about my outfit. first grade, did a great job. So the teachers are aware of our children's lack of knowledge of the things outside of our world, and they're ready to do that. So they're forming a diversity committee to just teach the kids about different cultures, and let them realize how fun the world is. Some of the other things that I'm very proud of Grand Slick is they're very inclusive of all students. So even our students with special needs, our students make a point to make sure they're involved in any activity that we have. Our students also raised over 4,000 cans to feed students that maybe needed help eating during Thanksgiving, as well as donating it to community resources. And you know, you're talking of a school of 305, so they're amazing. The bottom picture is in the greenhouse, and I had 4 young ladies come to me, and they wanted to reinstate the Green Thumb Club, and did not know they were doing this. They came in with a presentation. They sat down with myself and Ms. Crowder. They asked for a lunch meeting, sat down, they had a presentation, and then they handed over $200 that they had raised themselves by making bracelets and selling them, so that they could reinstate the Green Thumb Club and learn about agriculture and make Grand Slick a beautiful, the beautiful place it's always been. So the FFA at the high school, thank you, Mr. Ritter, they come down and volunteer once a week to work with these students. We now have 11 members, and they're growing their fruits and vegetables that they are so excited to be able to take home and eat. So just overall, GLE is just an amazing place to work and to learn. The profile of a graduate, it's something that we began working on in Campbell County, I want to say 2 years ago, but I might be wrong. It was 2 or 3 years ago. This year, a couple of things that my students have done is every month the STLP makes a different video of a different characteristic. Whether it's the collaborator or the communicator, critical thinker, and they air that with the morning announcements so that the students are seeing that above and beyond of what the teachers are saying every day. We have a bulletin board that the kids will change with the different characteristics for whatever we're talking about that month. And this next one, at the bottom, there are 3 students, and these students actually worked on model transition defense videos. It was pretty impressive. One is sort of a traditional PowerPoint, but he wants to be an airplane mechanic. So he talked about all the different ways that what he's learned there will help him be an airplane mechanic. One of them, she did a news report because she was on the news crew. Just very impressive. And then there's one, he wants to be a YouTuber. So he made his own YouTube video about the different places in the world that no one goes to, but you should go to. Just a lot of creativity that these kids show. And that is all. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Any questions or comments from the board?
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hamilton. Next item is our communications. First item being our audience comments. I want to thank everyone for attending the Campbell County Board of Education meeting. Although the board is not required by law to offer a public comment period, the board does believe this is important and that public comments on issues are relevant to the school district. For that reason, the board is pleased to offer each speaker who registers a period of up to 3 minutes to offer public comment during this public comment section. Please understand this is not a question and answer session where board members will be required to respond to your comments or questions. Comments also should not be personally directed, abusive, or inappropriate. The balance of the meeting is for conducting the necessary business of the board. You're welcome to watch and listen to the remainder of the meeting after our comment section. First person to speak will be Ms. Haley Nordwick.
My name is Haley Nordwick, and I'm one of the students who has been accepted in the Young Scholars Academy program. I've worked hard my entire life to get good grades and to prepare myself for an opportunity like this. It would be devastating to have this opportunity taken away from me after I've already been accepted. When I grow up, I want to be a pediatrician. This requires 4 years of college, 4 years of med school, plus residency. This program offers an opportunity for me to get a jump start on my education and start my career earlier. In addition, college can be extremely expensive. I don't want to graduate with a mountain of student loans to pay off. This program offers a more affordable way for me to graduate. This program offers a more affordable way for me to get an education at an extremely discounted rate, saving 79% on tuition for the first 2 years. Taking away this program is going to negatively affect my future. I have taken all of the advanced and AP classes I could possibly take and have only been able to receive 1 college credit so far. Even if I took all of the AP and dual credit classes I could possibly take, I wouldn't earn nearly as much college credit as this program offers. The early college program alternative you are trying to offer doesn't even compare to the amount of credit this program offers. With the alternative, we could only earn 12 credits next year, which is not even comparable to the 30 we would earn from YSA. Additionally, the early college program doesn't allow us to take English, math, or science classes at NKU, making it so this program doesn't even allow us to get our prerequisites out of the way. The YSA program also offers a unique opportunity to prepare us for the real world. The skills that we could learn from this program are invaluable. Skills like time management, a good work ethic, and how to take good notes. Canton County has already enlisted this program, and their first class is graduating this year. They have seen great success with this program. The AP and dual credit classes have not been affected in this district, and their district is similar in size to ours, so the same should be true for Campbell County. Other districts that offer this program are more than willing to accept me and the other YSA students in the fall and honor our spots. This makes it so we have to choose between our future and our friends. I've been going to Campbell County since kindergarten. It would be a shame for me to have to transfer to get the best education possible. You will lose some of your top students if you are not willing to reconsider. Your job as our Board of Education is to protect your students and to offer them the best education you possibly can. Taking away this opportunity that we have already earned is not putting the best interest of our students first. Thank you for your time. Please reconsider and stay in the Young Scholars Program at Campbell County.
Coyote Davis.
Hi, my name is Joe T. Davis, one of the students who is accepted into the Young Scholars Academy program at Northern Kentucky University. This program was offered to students in Campbell County in January of this year. Through the process of signing up, testing, and waiting, I was excited, nervous, and anxious. When I received the acceptance email, I was overjoyed. My peers and I went through those emotions just to be hit with dread and disappointment when we found out that the program was being pulled from under our feet months later. I'm confused. Why would a school offer a life-changing opportunity when it was not even set in stone? We were put through a roller coaster of emotions these past few months. It broke my and many others' hearts, as well as shattered our hopes and dreams and trust in our school system. Please take into consideration every detail that we present today and rethink your decisions. I know that you care about your students and their success here in Campbell County, and especially their futures. And we're here telling you that this is what we need and pleading with you to reconsider. It would be amazing for us to walk at high school graduation knowing that we have a head start in our careers, and most of which heavily focus on helping others and saving lives. We would feel like wasted potential, and it hurts to know that we would have advanced if we were not restrained by what was voted on. It is not acceptable to present an opportunity just to snatch it away from children, especially those who have worked hard their entire school careers in order to come across an amazing opportunity such as what is offered by this program. As a student coming from another country, I have had to work extra hard in life to catch up with others in my grade and then finally advance in some of the content. An opportunity like this is hard to come across in any other schools, and I think it would set Campbell County apart from other schools. I, along with many other Campbell County sophomores, implore you to allow us to continue with our education at NKU through Campbell County schools. We are more than ready to start this journey, and we will represent the school well, try our best, and succeed, and that would all be thanks to the opportunity that was provided to us by you, the Campbell County Board of Education. Thank you.
Jake Hoder.
Member of the board, my name is Jacob Hoder. I stand here before you to plead my case on why the decision of the YSA program should be reevaluated. The YSA program allows high school juniors to attend NKU with a full course load. They'll then continue their senior year and in the end obtain an associate's degree or 2 years of their bachelor's degree completed at a reduced rate. Students and parents look to you as leaders of our community and help our students to strive to be the best. Before you stand future doctors, chemical engineers, and biotechnologists. If this program is allowed to move forward, it will help us kickstart our college education not only to do the people sign a petition. Not only do people before you believe the program will be beneficial, but 1,500 community members signed a petition showing support for the YSA program. Think of the opportunities that this program could have for future students. If you push forward with this program, I believe that Campbell County could outshine any other school there is, and our students will go on to create amazing legacies. However, not only will you be losing some of your brightest minds, you will be losing student athletes and dedicated members of the school community, both now and in the future, if you don't reconsider. The reason I would like to be in this program is because the schoolwork I'm currently doing does not challenge me or keep me intrigued with my high school coursework. The sense of community here has been great in showing support for students that wish to push themselves further in their education. As of this summer, Kentucky lawmakers will be enacting a new law that allows students to have school choice, which is where students don't have to be in the district of the school they wish to attend. With the fundings going to schools in which students attend, school fundings will be reduced if students decide to leave Campbell County due to not offering the YSA program. I believe the future students would appreciate the opportunity of the YSA program. If the program is not reinstated, I fear that it will turn away kids from enrolling in Campbell County schools. The kids that you would attract to your school with this program would be student leaders of the community. I know this all comes down to your decision on the program. I wish to stay in Campbell County School since I have made many friends and wish to see this program succeed with the help of the Campbell County School Board. I wish you to reconsider and establish the program for the sake of future CCS students and myself. Thank you for your time.
Angelina Thompson.
Good evening, board members. My name is Angelina Thompson, and I'm one of the 7 students accepted into NKU's YSA program. A big concern we were able to deduce from the March 21st board meeting was the lack of interest. Only 11 out of approximately 1,500 students applied to the program, and 7 were accepted. We do not believe this is because of a detachment towards the program, but rather because of an absence of advertising. There had been no marketing of the program until scheduling week. This was some students' first time hearing about YSA, and at that point, 2 weeks past the deadline, it was too late to apply for those interested. So a little under 3 weeks ago, my mom started a petition on behalf of the YSA program. She invited anyone interested and in opposition of the board's decision to sign it. Today we have over 1,000 signatures. This demonstrates that there is an interest and a want for the program. We believe that there was a lack of promotion that would have earned YSA the attention the board so clearly desires. My mom, a single person, was able to obtain the attention of more than 1,000 Campbell County students and residents. Just imagine the interest that could have occurred if Campbell County High School had promoted it in the same way. To conclude, we think the board has made a major miscalculation in turning down YSA. The disavowalment is a downfall to the community, students, families, and the schools in Campbell County. Although the cost may not be the most appealing for the small population that would be attending NKU, many projects have had a similar case, but succeeded substantially. Just think, the Apollo 11 mission cost NASA $194 billion for only 3 people. YSA is one step closer to sending students to the moon. Think of the 2022 to 2023 school year as a trial run. Fund the MOU for the next 2 years. Gauge the interest, promote the program, continue or discontinue the program based on the results. Don't decide to pass up something that could have a positive impact just because of your fears. Risk it and give YSA the benefit of the doubt. Please make our lives and education more meaningful. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Noah Shores.
Hello, my name is Noah Shares, and as I am one of the students who is accepted to the YSA. As you may see that I'm wearing the uniform of the AEC, I was sent there earlier this year because of problems at school. But now I have come back to high school and renewed my interest in schoolwork and also my academics. Because of this, I was able to get into YSA, and I have changed careers since being at AEC, and I want to be a pediatrician and help other kids who are like me, who were sent places because of behavioral problems. But also, this YSA program could cut down the time I am in school and allow me to start my career earlier. This is why I'm here in front of you, amazing Board of Education members, asking you to reinstate the YSA program, because you have provided us programs like AP, dual credit, and multiple pathway courses. These board members have also given us opportunities for students, such as the courses provided at the ATC. These courses have given many students the ability to get a jump start on their college education or in the careers they want to pursue. Yet these courses that we have been provided fall short for students like myself and the other students who are accepted to the YSA program, and all the students who will come after us at Campbell County Schools who are headed for the YSA program because they are academically ahead. These programs fall short in the amount of credits we earn for college to get us ahead, and also in their ability to get us into a college setting, which is very important for us. This program can help our schools become a place for the best students come for to access the programs like YSA that are offered to them to get a jump start in life. Ultimately, with all this information, accepting YSA program can only enhance our schools and keep you as board members as respected and amazing people who our community and schools look up to as students, brothers, sisters, sons, uncles, aunts, and parents, and keep us prepared for our lives and the path we take in life. So I ask you to please consider this program, which I know you and amazing board members such as yourselves will see as worth it to have for our schools and as students. Thank you.
Christina Gongzian, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I apologize.
I am Christina Gokshian, one of the 7 students chosen for the program called the Young Scholars Academy. I would like to start by stating Campbell County's mission statement, which is to offer the best education for all students. This program is the best education for us, a talented, responsible, and valuable group of individuals. Unfortunately, we will not get to experience YSA with the current circumstances. Not only do we want and deserve this program, but so do many others. In order to gain more support, 2 petitions were created, and combined, they raised close to 1,500 signatures of people who all want this program for us and incoming students interested. This includes students, parents, and even teachers. Among us, we have future engineers, doctors, pediatricians, psychologists, etc. But personally, I want to do YSA because I'm very passionate about biotechnology and have been since a young age. As the daughter of 2 hardworking immigrants, I like to set high standards for myself and am confident in exceeding those standards. My goal after senior year and bachelor's degree is to go to Johns Hopkins University to study biotechnology and earn my master's and doctorate degrees. Since this is a career that takes a lot of training beforehand, especially with a higher degree, it would be extremely beneficial if I could start completing these credits earlier in my life. With the help of Campbell County's support, this could happen, not only for me, but for many others with similar goals. When I first heard about this opportunity and everything it had to offer, credit hours, price, etc., I knew it was something I had to do. To get into this program, we have been working hard to take tests, applying, and awaiting our results. Many have argued that this situation has been mishandled or should have been brought up earlier, but why does that sway any decision on this program? The time it was brought up should not be an argument and why it should not be considered, but instead a symbol that we have worked long and hard to earn and get into this program. We deserve to have this opportunity. Please reconsider your decision on this topic because this program not only outweighs the other dual credit and early college programs that are offered, but there are also so many benefits to take into account. Nothing can compare to YSA. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Adelaide Koenig.
Hello, I am Adelaide Koenig, and I grew up attending Campbell Ridge since preschool and am currently a 6th grader at the middle school. I'm speaking on behalf of future students who are currently on track for the YSA program. Before I started middle school, my teachers recommended that I be placed on the advanced track in math so that I could complete college-level courses in high school. I understand that dual credit courses may be considered as an option in the future. However, I'm much more interested in the Young Scholars Academy because this way when I get to college I can spend more time exploring courses in my major or possibly earn a double major in courses beneficial to my future career. I learned, however, that last meeting the board voted against funding for this program. I feel that this decision was short-sighted and hasty, and I hope the board will reconsider. It is my understanding that there are many benefits to the YSA program, such as earning 60 college credit hours, whereas dual credit only offers 18, earning an associate's degree, having an immersive on-campus experience, and still being able to participate in school extracurriculars. I've considered the free craft academy at Moorhead. However, if I were to attend there, I would miss out on extracurriculars such as band and academic team, and I would be much farther from my friends and family. And being a year younger than all the other students in my grade, having started kindergarten early, I would not have a car or driver's license, and therefore transportation would become extremely difficult. This program is truly an incredible opportunity and learning experience for all students. Who knows, someday these kids could do great things, and depriving these kids of these opportunities would be a catastrophic mistake. These reasons and many more that I could not fit into a 3-minute speech, and why I think the board should reconsider their decision to revoke funding for this program.
Ina Pilavia. I'm sure I messed up your name. I apologize.
Okay, thank you. Hello, I'm Ina Pilaiva. My daughter Christina is one of the YSA students. At the last meeting, the board had many questions and concerns. Since then, YSA parents have worked diligently to gather information to address them. We appreciate the opportunity to share our perspective with the board and hope it's helpful. One concern is the justification of paying $17,000 for this program, and that it's not fair for our district to pay more per student than other districts do. We couldn't agree more. But with the program cost being so minimal and short-term, only for 1 year, shouldn't we be more concerned about fairness to our students? The message the board's decision sends to our kids is that they're not worth the investment, that their hard work doesn't matter. $17,000 is less than 0.0003% of the district's budget. That's 3 zeros after the decimal. Even with 7 students, the cost per student is less than state SEEK funding our school receives for each student. Our district has made significant investments in various initiatives over the years that benefit a limited group of students, like ATC construction. If the district is willing to invest millions in needs of one special group, but not willing to invest $17,000 in needs of this group, that goes against all principles of fairness, equality, and inclusiveness. And we're not talking about millions, we're just asking the district to allocate funding it receives for our kids into the educational path that best fits their needs. The board is also concerned that YSA is not equitable for families who financially cannot afford it. Actually, YSA cost is the same as our current dual credit offerings, $72 per credit hour and 80% discount on tuition. And YSA has need-based scholarship options. There is no financial aid available for students taking our existing dual credit offerings. Denying this program makes college unaffordable to more students and more families. If YSA remains unavailable in our district, all YSA students will move to another district that supports this path. Based on the new law that will come into effect this summer, funding will go with the students. The district will lose more in funding than the entire cost of this program. I immigrated here from Ukraine, but I grew up in the Soviet Union. Soviet government made all education decisions for me. When I moved to the United States, I knew I would have the freedom to choose and decide what's best for me and my family, including educational decisions. YSA is not for everyone, but whether or not it's the right fit should be up to students and their families. I hope this new information helps the board reconsider their decision. Approving YSA is a win-win for our students and for the district. Thank you.
Brandy Hoder.
Good evening. Members of the board, my name is Brandy Hodar, and I'm the mother of Jacob Hodar, a current CCHS sophomore. Can we take a minute to look at these young adults who just spoke before you? These students are asking only to continue with the offer that was given to them. We are only asking for you to reconsider the opportunity for the students of Campbell County. This is a 2-year commitment that would allow the system to then evaluate how the program is doing. We know there have been talks that we already have many dual credit offerings at CCHS. And you know what? We really appreciate all that CCHS does offer to these students. A good school system allows for multiple avenues for all students, including our talented and gifted students. We also understand that the high school has tried to find an alternative, but the restrictions placed on the kids does not allow for an alternative. They've been told they can take an 8 a.m. and a 9 a.m. class, but these cannot be English, math, and science. Did you listen to the children earlier? We've got doctors and scientists and engineers here. That is their core, and they're looking to understand this data at a college level. Let me address a couple of the items that were directed at the parents at the last board meeting. Low interest. As was already mentioned, this program was only introduced slightly to the children. My son started school the first week of January. And as soon as he learned about it, he jumped on this chance that this was something he was extremely interested in. Right now, you've only got 7 students accepted, and actually for a first-year program, that's really an amazing number to start with and to get a test of the waters. Now, we've been told that this would contradict and take away from the AP classes. With only 7 students picking this choice, there's a lot of AP students that have decided this is not the opportunity for them. They're staying with the AP classes, and that's great that they have that opportunity. So it's great that if you guys would allow them to choose what path works best for them. One thing that was addressed at the last board meeting was the credit transferability. As you've listened, these are very bright young students. They've talked this over with their parents, their community members, their teachers, their counselors. They understand what they're getting into, and they understand what's put before them and the limitations to that. I sincerely hope you listen to the students, the parents, and the community members that are here tonight on how they feel about this program being offered. The school administration was driving this program being offered at least prior to the last board meeting. The one thing we all have in common is we would like to stay and support our high school here while allowing our students to start to work on their college education that they desperately want to do. Thank you so much.
Cynthia Nordwick.
Good evening. My name is Cynthia Nordwick, and I am speaking to you tonight on behalf of my daughter Haley Nordwick and the other Young Academy Scholar students before you. I am addressing you as a concerned parent, community member, and also as an employee of the district. The way this situation has been handled has been very disappointing. Our children worked so hard, tested, and were accepted into this program by NKU on your guidance to apply. They already have their acceptance letters. They were then told that they're not able to participate, as the board did not approve it after the fact, which is completely unacceptable. To see my child's face when she was accepted and the joy this brought her, and then to take it away, is not okay for our students. Our children should not be punished for the poor handling of this situation. I am asking you as a board to reconsider your decision regarding this program. One concern brought up by the board was the lack of interest by students in the program. The way this program was presented to our students has a direct impact on the low amount of interest. A Schoology post sent out to high schoolers was the only information letting us know about the program. There was nothing sent out to parents directly. If parents were made aware of this program and the extremely discounted college rate it offers, I am sure more would have been interested. There is also concern over college transferability. The transfer of credits from NKU to other universities children may attend in the future is the same risk as any dual credit class that we currently offer, as they come from NKU as well. There was also a statement that the other districts, such as Boone County, are not offering this opportunity. Boone County has had the Ignite Institute for years, which allows students to graduate with an associate's degree as well, and has partnered with NKU and Gateway for this. We as a district also voted that down when that opportunity arose for our students. With this similar option in place, it's understandable why they would choose to not participate. I have reached out to other districts in the area, and they are more than willing to take our students and honor their spots in the YSA program. They also will waive the out-of-area tuition as they see the value this opportunity brings our students. I have seen repeatedly that you do not want to lose your top students to this program, which makes no sense, as you should want them to have this amazing opportunity for the benefit of their futures. You will lose these 6 students for the next year, as well as others in the future, once parents are aware that they can go somewhere else and be given this opportunity. Please do not make our students choose at this young age between their future and the friendships at this stage in their lives. Our mission statement as a district states, in partnership with students, staff, parents, and community, we will do whatever it takes to ensure our students' success in college, career, and life. This decision to hold this group of students back is going directly against this mission statement. NKU wants to partner with our school to provide the best possible educational opportunities for our students, and we need to do what is right and allow them to take advantage of this. Our vision as a district focuses on providing a wealth of opportunities in which our students can excel. We believe students come first and should be challenged to reach their highest potential. This is a great opportunity to partner with our community and allow our students the opportunity to grow as students and individuals. I am asking you on behalf of our students to please reconsider your decision and allow our students the opportunity to participate in the Young Scholars Academy that they have already been promised. Thank you for your time.
Nicole Mulberry.
I'm going to apologize in advance because I am not a good speaker. All these kids, holy smokes, I cannot believe they got up here and just did the phenomenal speeches they did. Whew. So thank you guys for that. It was awesome. We are new to the district. We've been here for 2 years. We came from Oldham County, where there's a program very much like this, but it's through U of L. We always looked forward to doing that. However, once we moved up here and realized that that was not offered, that was kind of a letdown, I have to admit. But once Angelina came home all excited with the fact that, hey, NKU is offering this at our school and I have to take this test, and you know, it was super exciting. I was so excited to see her want to do this because she has not enjoyed the high school experience. For some kids, the high school experience is not a good one. She is very gifted in very many ways. She's funny, she's outgoing, but like, it's just, high school isn't her thing. So the fact that this was offered, we were thrilled. The sad part about this is that you all don't see the fact that it is an amazing opportunity for these kids. These kids, they're not interested in sticking to the high school curriculum. They're past that. They're more mature than that. They're advanced beyond their years. I have a younger child who is also in Campbell County's district. She'll be going to the high school in the fall. Unlike Angelina, she has learning disabilities. She's dyslexic. She's ADHD. So like her course is going to be more the technology center, and that's great and that's fine. And I'm so glad that the school offers that. But the fact that they don't see the value in these kids and what they have to offer, like, I don't understand. It's sad. The fact that they have the chance to earn their associate's degree before they even finish high school, or when they finish high school, is amazing. The fact that the early college program that they're trying to put in place instead of this, it doesn't even come close. They're going to earn a total of maybe 30 by the time they graduate. I'm sorry, there's 24 by the time that they graduate high school. Like, there's no comparison to the 60 that they could earn if they were in YSA. So I just, for the life of me, I don't understand why you all don't see the opportunity in this. The amount that it's going to cost you all is so minimal. Like, I'm sure that it cost more money to put, what was his name, the camel, your all's camel on the floor. Like, I'm sure that cost more than what it would cost to send these 6 kids for college. I am such a bad speaker, and I am so sorry. I'm nervous. I just really wish you all would reconsider. I've talked to numerous different counties, different schools, and they are all willing to take these kids without cost for tuition. They're going to pay all of the fees. Transportation is not an issue, which I'm really not sure why transportation would be an issue anyways. If you all have the early college program, you all have a bus that's going back and forth to the college anyway, so why wouldn't they just be able to jump on that? And half of these kids are going to have their license by the time they go. So to me, that's not even issue. Also, the fact if you're worried about funding, I'm sure there could be fundraisers that were done. I'm sure a lot of the parents would be willing to put forth money, but the fact that that wasn't even considered or thought about, I think is just, it's sad. My last thing, I guess, is kind of the same thing that everybody else has said. It's, you've got this great district, and you all aren't wanting to put money into these students that would bring more kids in. People are going to see the fact that we don't want to be a top-notch high school or compared to any of the other high schools around. If you're going to do whatever it takes to ensure these kids' success in college life and career, this would be a great start. Like, it just blows my mind. I don't know. So I wish I was a better public speaker. I wish that I could get my words out better, but I'm disappointed in the district and the fact that, you know, you have a sixth grader here that was a phenomenal speaker. Like, the potential that you all could have with kids like her coming up, like, use that. Be the best district in the state, like not the 27th or whatever we are. I just think that this would really be beneficial to everyone in Campbell County. So thank you guys for listening to us, and hopefully you all will take time to reconsider and listen to everything that these kids have said, because they hit the nail on the head. Thank you.
Brian shares.
Hi, my name's Brian Traers. My son, Noah, is also one of the students here that was accepted into the YSA. I think there's been a lot of compelling arguments here. One of the concerns is the alternative that is being proposed, and it's not really the same. One of the things, I've got the flyer here, and I kind of read over this, you know, just to see exactly what it all entails. But it does say that you can take 2 courses per semester for 6 credits total, which would be 12 a year or 24 total. That still makes you a freshman when you go to college. You would not be a sophomore yet. You need 30 for that. So you're going to be another year behind yet. And also, the main concern is you cannot take math or science classes there. Those are your STEM courses, which are really important, especially for future, you know, doctors, engineers. You need those type of classes. So what would be offered is more classes like psychology or, you know, history. That might be good for their electives, but that's not going to get to the core classes or the classes they really need their first year even. So that's a concern there. I think, you know, it's been said the 7 students may not be enough, but you know, sometimes even 7 students can make a difference. The varsity basketball team, you know, they play 5 students on the court with a few backups. The core team's not much larger than these 7 students. Yet when they go to state, you know, we let school out early. We rent the charter bus to take them down for the team to ride on. I'm sure we spend far more money on the basketball program facilities to support that activity than what this will be. When you put it in perspective, I don't think $17,000 is too much to meet the educational needs of these students. The YSA can also be expanded in future years up to 54 students, which is way more than the basketball teams. So you know, when you look at it that way, you know, it's not that much. However, these 7 kids accomplished academically what the basketball team basically does going to state. Campbell County should be very proud of these students because they prepared them to be students, to be ready for full-time college 2 years earlier than most. So that's something to be proud of. They had to meet certain qualifications and testing to achieve this honor, which was not easy. Yet instead of recognizing their accomplishments, we killed the one program they worked so hard to get into. We should be praising these students for their accomplishments and for getting in a program, and I think we should give them a round of applause. Thank you. I think they deserve that. If nothing else, they at least deserve that recognition for what they did accomplish. So, thank you.
Josh Davis. Davis? He's not here. James Mills?
Good evening. I too am going to talk about the YSA program, but from a little bit different perspective. I don't have a student at the high school. I'm not going to have a student at the high school for several years. Mine's in the 4th grade at Klein. But I was at this meeting that night, and as a parent of a student in this district, that night was, quite frankly, embarrassing for me. Dr. Dempsey took time out of her evening, came here. Nobody from the board could even thank her for answering questions. These students deserve the opportunity for this. There was a comment made, since Ms. Winbigler laid out all the rules, I'm not going to call out specific names, but there was a comment made that said, how is this advantageous for our students? The question I have for the board is, how is it not? Nobody expressed one single thing other than cost from the district's perspective that it wasn't advantageous. There was another comment made when we was talking about scholarships and all of this stuff. Well, will they understand? To me, I took that as an insinuation that we as parents are stupid, that we're not going to understand the information that is given to us. The district's responsibility is to provide us information. We as the parents make the decision based off of that. It's our responsibility to decide what is best for our kids and what we want to do with our kids. There's a lot of things that the board does that I don't understand, but it doesn't stop you guys from doing it. $17,000 in the grand scheme of things is nothing out of a $60+ million budget. We kept going back to that. We entrust Mr. Ritter with 1,500 kids every single day. He clearly had some sort of support for the program because they had brought it to you guys. So I trust his decision on that. There was also a comment, and I'm not sure how to perceive the comment, in that we just received this 2 days ago. I'm not sure if that was talking about the MOU or if that was talking about information about the program, but correspondence that I received indicate that you guys were notified that there was some sort of conversation beginning about the YSA program on October 1st. There were subsequently 6 additional emails after that day where it was talked about the YSA program. My question to the board, did anybody ask any questions between October 1st and the 21st? Did anybody get any follow-up questions? Did they do anything? Did they reach out to Dr. Dempsey? Did you reach out to Kenton County, who's had huge success doing this, before we just jump to this conclusion because it's $17,000? I'd be willing to bet the answer is no, that nobody reached out and figured out some of this information. Clearly, based off of these emails, there's decent amount of communication coming from central office, so I'm not sure why we can't ask those questions. It was also brought up about scholarships and opportunities for kids leaving the state to go seek a higher degree. My question is, what is the percentage of graduates that leave the state to go to college? What's that percentage? There's probably far more, I would be willing to bet, that stay within this state than that leave. So if they had the opportunity to get an associate's degree, or just about, that's probably all of their general education requirements completed before they graduated high school, putting them in college as a junior, why would we not do that? Why would we not even give it a chance? Like they said, 2 years. 2 years. We've wasted 2 years. My kid has had 1 or 2 solid years of school, finally back to some sort of normalcy. It flew by, thankfully. It's 2 years that they were trying to get. If it doesn't work, we drop back, we reevaluate. If it works, you can say, you know what, we were part of this initial program and we are helping our students and we are doing what our mission statement says is whatever it takes to make them successful. But you guys took that choice away from the parent. You took it away because we're concerned about AP courses and dual credit courses. If they take an AP course and they fail the test, do they get the credit? They don't. But if they take that college course and they fail 1 test, which we hope that none of them do, but if they do, they can still pass the class and they can still get that credit. But if you take that AP course, you pay for it, you fail that test, you don't get that credit. But the board collectively decided that that was not a parent's choice. they decided they knew what was best. That's shameful. Shameful. You guys need to do better, and you guys are better than that. You should for our kids.
Lori Pruitt.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson and board members, for letting us speak tonight. My name is Lori Pruitt, and my family and I just moved back to Kentucky after being gone for 11 years this past summer. We're happy to be back, and I commend everybody for being here tonight, and I do support the YSA project, but I have had lengthy conversations with my student, and it is not something that he has chosen to move forward with. So I am here tonight to speak further a little bit about the dual credit opportunities and potentially ask the board to consider lifting the requirement for only juniors and seniors and opening that up to sophomores. By doing that and having the classes available, the sophomores and juniors and seniors could have roughly, if it's the same amount of dual credit available, potentially 36 hours. Granted, it's not the 60, but it's not also just 24, which is under enough credits to come in as a sophomore at the college level. My student also is somebody that would like to be a little more challenged and would love to take some classes that raise his, abilities and work at the college level. And would also like the choice to do that as a sophomore, potentially taking those dual credit classes. On another topic, something else that he would like to do is open up his schedule a little bit more to be able to take more academic type classes. So if there could potentially be a consideration for a summer PE credit that could be geared towards the high school credit. I know he is very involved in an extracurricular activity that is physically challenging. He puts over 125 hours just in the month of July for this program. And then when school starts, it's roughly 99 hours from the beginning of the extracurricular activity till the end of that, and that's on a light year. And that doesn't include any of the competitions that take place on the Saturdays. So if there could be a potential consideration for a PE credit that could go towards his a number of credits for his high school diploma, just to open something up in his schedule so he can take his engineering classes, or he can take that calculus so he can get the AP credit to go towards his college credit. That would be wonderful as well. Again, those are my comments, and I thank you so much for allowing us to speak tonight.
This concludes our audience comments for the evening. Next item would be our superintendent comments. Dr. Rust?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you very much. Just a few things I want to comment on tonight. First of all, I just wanted to acknowledge all our student athletes and our academic winners and extracurricular folks who are here tonight to be acknowledged as our R-stars. Also have some really good news to share with the community and with the board, and hopefully we'll have these students with us here to see them in person next month. We had a perfect ACT score in our district at the high school, which is really, really, really exciting and very rare. Pretty happy to know that. And then we also had 6 of our current junior students who were selected as Governor's Scholars to participate in that state program over the summer, so pretty excited about that. Also, I'd like to just put out a reminder to parents about the school customer service survey, which is currently being conducted, which I've shared in my weekly blog, and would like to encourage parents to participate in that, to give us customer service feedback about your children's schools. And that will be open through April 22nd. So I'd just like to encourage folks to please take the time to participate in that. Thank you very much.
Next item would be our board member comments. Board members?
I'd like to thank everyone who came and made comments tonight. I know that it's
intimidating if it's not something that you've done before, and I appreciate you being willing to stand up in front of people and address a board. That's a very challenging thing to do, especially the first time you do it. After that, it gets a little easier, so keep doing that. And of course, congratulations to all of our stars who were here earlier and who have gone ahead. Thanks.
I also want to thank all of our stars, those that were here and those who were unable to be with us, on their achievements for this evening. And also want to wish the best of luck to all of our 5th graders, 8th graders, and our seniors who are getting ready for their transition defenses. And I also want to say thank you to the students who are sitting in front of us and everything. I do appreciate your comments, and I appreciate you coming forward and speaking to the board. And as Ms. Fender said, we're very impressed with your ability to stand up and to speak to us and to voice your concerns. I do appreciate that very much. So thank you for being here to speak to us.
I'd also like to thank you all for speaking to students, parents. It is good to see people come down when they're concerned about their kids' education and to come and advocate for their children. It's a good thing. Please come more often. It's nice to have an audience. We do. It's nice. I don't like speaking in public either, and I have to look at all you. When I speak in public, you're only looking at us. You'll do fine. Please, though. Thank you.
I just want to congratulate the All-Stars and thank you students also for coming.
Next item on our agenda is the personnel actions. The board accepts those as submitted. Next will be our written communications and reports, which includes our SBDM minutes, our Frisky reports, the homeless services report, the pupil personnel report, the public relations report, the school-related field trip notifications, which includes the field trip reports for athletics and the field trip reports for transportation. Next would be our action agenda, the first item being House Bill 678, the 2022 resolution.
Yes, Madam Chair. Before you is a request to approve a resolution in regards to House Bill 678. House Bill 678 was passed during the 2022 meeting of the General Assembly and recently signed into law. This bill allows school districts to bypass some of the time-consuming approval constraints related to buildings and grounds projects initiated by local school districts. The provisions of House Bill 678 are temporary and extend until June 30th, 2024, during which time a review of the current regulations and processes will be conducted. The time it typically takes for approvals is costing districts and taxpayers time and money, especially during this time of price inflation, material shortages, and labor constraints. This will allow us to move forward with construction and renovation projects in a more expeditious manner while continuing to follow the specific parameters for BG projects. BG forms will still require local board review and submittal and approval to the Kentucky Department of Education for their record keeping. I'm recommending the passage of the attached resolution articulating the local board's desire to act under the provisions of House Bill 678 and notifying the Kentucky Department of Education of the board's intent. And the resolution, and I've also included House Bill 678 in the packet for your review.
Are there any questions or comments from the board?
So this, I mentioned at a previous meeting that I was part of the kind of informal working group that worked on this legislation to get this enacted because we were seeing such lengthy delays in getting some of our paperwork approved, not just here, but across the Commonwealth. And it does, this provision does expire June 30th of 2024. So between now and then, this working group will be working with the Department of Education to come up with a more expedited review process that will better meet the needs of the districts of Kentucky.
Any other questions or comments from the board? With no further questions or comments, Superintendent Russ, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, Madam Chair. I'd like to recommend approval of House Bill 678 resolution as presented.
The board has heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion from the board?
I'll move approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Fender?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
And Ms. Windigler is yes. Our next item is the Campbell County Middle School staff change request.
Yes, Madam Chair. This is a request to alter the number of contracted days for the secretaries and the clerk positions 2 of each that exist at the middle school for the coming school year. The total impact to the district will be a budget gain, actually credit of about $500 per year based on this requested change, based on the fact that the clerks are being asked to work more days and the secretaries working fewer days than they typically do on the current schedule. So currently, Campbell County Middle School has 2 clerk positions who work 186 days, and there are 2 secretary positions who each work 240 days each school year. Campbell County Middle School has sent us a letter and would like to request the increase of the number of days for their clerks from 186 days to 196 days, and a decrease of the secretarial days from 240 to 230. This change ensures complete coverage of the front office duties at the beginning and the end of each school year for reception duties, while allowing the secretaries to complete their startup and closeout tasks yearly. All staff affected have agreed and are interested in the change to their respective contracts to make this work. Mr. Moore is here as well, also to speak on this if you'd like more detail, as he initiated the request to the board.
Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Just to note that while this does result in a small savings, it is not being done for financial purposes. I see Mr. Moore shaking his head. It's being done to better operate the school building.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments from the board? With no further questions or comments, Superintendent Rust, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to recommend approval of Campbell County Middle School's request to increase the number of contracted days from 186 to 196, from 186 to 196 for the clerk positions, while decreasing the number of contracted secretarial days from 240 days to 230 days a year.
The board has heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion from the board?
I'll move approval for the staff change for the middle school.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Fender?
Yes.
Ms. Von Bigler is yes. Our next item is BG number 22-259, the Campbell County Middle School roofing for 2022. This is to award the bid and revise the BG1 and the revised BG2.
Yes, Madam Chair, this project is part of the Campbell County Schools roof replacement schedule, which was created in August of 2019. It calls for the replacement of the north wing roof, which is approximately 33,000 square feet at Campbell County Middle School. This replaces the SBS modified asphalt roofing down to the decking with an installation of a new EPDM system over polyisocyanurate insulation. It also includes edge metals and accessories to complete the job. 4 bids were received on March 31st of 2022. The best and lowest bid received was from D&I General Contracting LLC for the base bid and alternates number 2 and number 3. This revises the original BG1 by an increase of $422,309 as shown in your documentation. Robert Everett Hayes and Associates conducted extensive work history research into D&I General Contracting since we were unfamiliar with this vendor and their previous work. They were able to secure assurances from from multiple references and the material supplier as to their work. They also requested written guarantees from D&I General Contracting. This work is expected to begin at the end of the current school year. As a note to the board and to the community, other bids that we had received had completion dates marked of either 2023 or 2024 due to the lack of materials and or employees available to get the work done in a timely manner. I do want to note that this is a significant increase in what we had initially estimated for the cost of this project, and this would come in with with the alternates at $1,067,383. I'd invite Mr. Crummon and Mr. Hayes to answer any questions or provide us any more information.
Are there any questions or comments from the board?
I have several. You go first, Peggy. That's okay.
I do have. So we're replacing shingles with.
Yeah.
If you'll come to the
Thank you,
microphone,
sir.
Mr. Hayes.
Okay.
That was coming at me
Okay,
or Mr.
well,
Crummins, so
either
I was
one.
hesitated.
Okay,
Yes, we're-
so for that amount of money, can you explain exactly what we are putting on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So the north end is everything towards the Cincinnati side of the main gym. And then we're also
We're
doing the area.
familiar with north and south. We got that part.
And then the center section is also included to the 27 side of the gym, but we're holding back a little bit on where the front might go in the future. So there are two different systems that are in there. There were test cuts performed on the north end, which is the majority of the square footage. A lot of the insulation was determined to be wet or damaged, and it was not at a thickness enough for the energy code. So what we recommend, and the building code actually says they don't let you put a second layer on like on a residential house. You have to tear it you have to tear the roof off. We looked at the insulation and it wasn't of a quality. There was two layers of two different kinds, and it was determined that with the wetness and so forth, to tear it down to the deck was the most appropriate. It's a concrete deck, concrete and gypsum type deck. It's on that whole north section. That seemed like it was in decent condition. So this is actually to tear it all the way down. On the back side, and I forget, Mr. Mason's our historian. He probably knows the date more than I do, but it's the back section is fairly flat, and that's what the alternate bid was for the tapered insulation. So they put like wedges, giant wedges that can increase the slope of the roof, because I didn't like how it was ponding in some things. So it does include an average of about 4 inches of new insulation. The alternate that is part of that bid includes tapered insulation on that whole back edge, on the back corner, the more modern piece. And then it includes a new membrane that would go on top of it. And it's a 20-year roof. And then the other thing that it does is a lot of the copings and edge metals and all the other pieces are starting to show their age. So this includes, if the concrete coping remains, it includes caulking and sealing it. It covers it on a lot of the more modern section over on the side with a new piece of brake metal, and that's all part of your warranty. The section in the center that's on the 27 side actually has a metal deck on it. So we're tearing it down to a drywall layer that is right on top of the metal deck that was required for the fire rating, and then we're putting new insulation and then a new EPDM, which is a rubber roof. It's just like what you have all the way down at the ATC and the high school and all those places. It's a single ply rubber membrane. It's the same system that we just put on the south end of the middle school last year. And this is all installed by adhering it. So the polyiso insulation is stuck down, and we stick it down so it meets the wind speed, 90-mile-an-hour wind speed, and it's glued down. We have two layers. We stagger the joints, and none of the thermal conductivity comes through, and then they glue the final rubber sheet on top of it, so it gets glued down. So it's a complete replacement down to the structural deck with all new insulation.
Okay, was there anything like a plan B? I mean, it's $422,000 more.
The only thing I would say is your options would be to do less scope. You know, you could always cut it in half for the year. The concern I have is the industry is overwhelmed, especially in the roofing industry. I think the chemicals that are in the polyisanurate insulation is kind of what pushes a lot of this. And one of the things you'll notice is the low bid was significantly lower. There's quite a savings there. It's not a roofer I have ever worked with, but we did vet out their references, and they seemed pretty good. They had some work over towards Louisville, and they had some work down towards Moorhead, and it seemed like everything checked out pretty well. So that was one thing, but they used John Mansville, which is a little different manufacturer. It's a good manufacturer. It's one of our 3 approved, but all the other ones went with the Carlisle brand. So I think that's what gave them somewhat of an advantage to find it. To come back to your question on the overage, I don't have a solution to do it any other way than the right way. It's not the most expensive way you can do it. I mean, it's not going back with an SBS modified tar roof, which are kind of the Cadillac roofs. So it's going back with a really solid upper middle class roof. It gives you good lifespan without a crazy expense. Just reducing the overall 35,000 square feet would probably be the only way to reduce it. And I don't think in this market you're going to get any better price than that other than to reduce it. That's the only way. The code won't let you go over it. There are some coatings. You can do a coating system where you can kind of, for lack of a better word, paint over top of it and put a sheet on it. But the problem is your insulation is not in good shape, and it is so insignificant to what the energy code requires in a new building. I wouldn't recommend it. If you had a good insulation core, it would be something that we would really look at, but I'm not real comfortable with that as an option. So I would just say less scope would be the only option.
Okay, this company that you are recommending, you've used them before?
No, ma'am. I have not used them before. And, you know, I will say it's a significant savings to the taxpayer to go with them. So we spent quite a bit of time in our office. I had 2 people kind of doing reference checks and calling around. We talked to some architects, and I believe he might take a little more management than the other ones, but it's worth it, and I believe we can make sure that you get a good installation. The roof is warrantied by John Mansville, which is a great manufacturer. So as long as I have them on site helping me monitor the quality and the workmanship, we won't have an issue. And the big takeaway from them as the contractor is the timing. So they are in a position to actually do some of this work potentially even over this summer. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, looked at the bid form, but the high bid was all the way out to 2024.
Right.
And the other ones were out to the end of 2023. So that kind of tells me that rebidding is probably not going to save you money from a square footage standpoint because they're already figuring next summer pricing in. But this gentleman was able to procure some product, probably because he's on the Manville line versus the Carlisle line, and he's optimistic to try to get something started this summer and get on it earlier. Now, it's an adhered roof, which is good. As long as we can manage the smells and things like that, we should be fine. And it's not too bad, but it won't be all the impact drivers of more of like a mechanically attached where it's really noisy if we have to kind of overlap into some.
Okay.
It's a challenge, and a lot of projects are messy just with supply delivery.
But we usually use, for our roofing, isn't that NBUS?
NBUS is a great contractor, yes.
Isn't that who we use normally for our roofs?
They have been the low bid on many roofs. I think we've had Kelly Brothers on some. I think we've had NBUS is a great roofer in Wilder. Kramer's a great roofer. They're all very good. This was a case where the dollars in my recommendation warranted, maybe calling the references and trying somebody new and low bid.
That's a low bid.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
So
Okay.
I have several questions. First, you're saying that it's about 35,000 square feet, but the BG2 says 58,700. So which is the correct number?
I actually don't remember. That's just what I heard. So
in Dr. Rust, in your recommendation, it also says 33,000, but I'm looking at the re-roof area and the BG2, that is page 4 of 19 in our documents at 58,700. But when you said you checked references for D&I?
Yes, ma'am.
So you did not check references for Chippewa, who's the roofing that they're subcontracting all of the work to?
We did. We got a list of we had a full report that came in that had all the Chippewa information of like some of the projects that they've done and their staff
And their
so
most
forth.
recent project on that work history list is from 2006?
I don't recall.
It is. It's right here on the page.
Okay.
2006 is their most recent work that they have done, and the projects that they have done have tended to be, so can you translate even 35,000 square feet into SQS for us?
I'm sorry, what is SQS?
That's a roofing number that they use to estimate how many pallets of shingles they use.
Oh, squares.
Yes,
A square
squares.
of roofing is 100 square feet.
Okay, so how many, 33,000 then would be 3,300, math person? And the largest project that they have listed in their references here in their work history is 1,500, and that is from 1989. So I have some grave concerns about taking on a project that is so high over budget, claiming to provide us with the time frame, with the, really all of the work being done by a company who has done no roofing work since 2006, and their largest project is less than half the size of this project. So.
I can't speak to the specific of that. I can tell you we did have direct conversations beyond that list. I know Ryan in my office made a lot of those conversations with them. They are fully bonded.
All we have to go on is here, and their original subcontractor withdrew their bid. That's in this documentation as well.
Pardon me?
The original subcontractor withdrew their bid. That's also in the documentation. I think it's, let me give you the name, since that seems. YMV, yes. Yeah.
Right, because he had YMV listed on his bid form, and then he went with the Chippewa is the other. And I think they said they had 30 people that they had available to put on this job.
Or perhaps one who'd done roofing work in at least 2020s would have been a better option for us than one from 2006. I can't support this bid as submitted and will not.
So we really don't know if they've had any work since 2006. That's the documentation that's in front of us, and that's all that we have to go on.
Based on the information we've given, it does sound like that, but I believe we've had conversations that were way different, what I've understood from my staff.
It would be useful if we had that. I want to table it or reject it. I don't care which one. I don't want to spend even more.
Yeah, another bid would be even more money and a year longer.
A longer time frame, yeah.
More than a year, 14 months.
Well, and what I hear you saying is that they'll be starting this work this summer, but that it will not be completed.
His goal is to complete it over the summer. It is very hard with the delivery times to get any kind of guarantee at this time. I did call, or had Ryan in my office call the John Mansville rep, and I had the rep who sells the material and hold the warranty on the product tell me that they were comfortable with this individual and his subs and everyone that would be installing it. So they're the ones that actually certify the installers and will actually be owning the warranty after a year of it's been down. They'll be making all the repairs and making everything. So, you know, I guess I put a lot of faith in the fact that they have a bond, which means you're guaranteed a good roof and completion from a financial standpoint. And the person that would be selling the material and holding the warranty felt comfortable with them. So that was the big piece of my recommendation, in the fact that it was probably the only bid that would probably meet your even come close to meeting financial consideration.
Is it possible for us to go back to the other three bidders and ask them to change from Carlisle to Manville and see what their pricing would be if we rejected this?
You have a few options, I would think. Are you model procurement? I can't remember.
Yes.
Okay. So what you could do is you could reject bids, and I'm going to defer to Mr. Reed because I'm not an attorney, I'm an architect, but what I've seen in the past is you're able to reject the bids, and then we are able to enter into competitive negotiations with the low three bids. At that point, we can make changes, we can suggest other things, they can come back and reprice it. I can make some potential adjustments in some of the specifications that might allow other brands, other considerations. They present another price back in 2 to 3 weeks, and then it can come back for your consideration. It does not have to be publicly advertised, and I don't think there's a huge time constraint. I've seen that done successfully. I don't know if that will, it might better the price some, and it might give us a chance potentially to put more resume criteria in the submittal. That might be a benefit. But I don't think it'll improve the timing, though. I do think the contractors that were saying out to 2023, I think our world has got to the point where we just have to find a way to do these projects during school and work around the time and the noise and the smells and those kind of things. So that would be a very viable option. And if you would like, we could, an option would be to price the west piece separately. So we could reduce the scope some, and then we'd rebid it. I like the idea of leaving the tapered insulation in the project because I think that's a value. When you see pawning water, it's just not a healthy long-term thing. But you could actually do a base bid for the north portion and then do an alternate for the west portion. That would give you a chance to maybe partition it a little bit more. So if there was not the appetite to spend that much, that you could potentially just take care of the north part but keep something moving.
Do you know if these other bidders work with the other material other than Carlisle material?
I cannot imagine they aren't approved by Mansville.
I'm certain
again,
they
again, it's their choice. On who they want to, if they want to buy Sherman Williams or Porter Paint. I mean, that's their choice. They're bidding it, and they have to make that decision, because I don't even know if they even get the same pricing. A lot of it, I do know that what's making this so tricky is the allocation. So a lot of it is, it's kind of like asking a Chevy dealer to go sell you a Ford. A lot of these contractors are not getting any more material than they bought last year because of allocation. So that could be one of the reasons that they are locked into their brands.
And the timing.
And the timing, yes. So if they haven't bought any John Mansville in the last 2 years, they might not be able to place an order. I've just kind of heard that in the industry, that you can't get any more than you bought last year.
Well, and perhaps even if D&I could come back with either an updated job history list for Chippewa or a contractor who perhaps had done work more recently. Apparently, the current president of Chippewa became president in 2006, and they have done no work since. So, at least according to the information that we've seen. See, I keep reminding people they let me be a librarian for a reason. Research.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
If we table this, came back next month, would you feel like we could still get it started on that early time frame?
I question, I would say probably not. But I question, how much would they actually be able to get done regardless? I mean, because they keep saying they have a goal, and I'm getting optimistic information from John Mansville, but I've yet to see guarantees that they'll actually get this started that early. So, I mean, I think you're probably going to have this extending into the school year in some way, in which case maybe you are better to have one of the other contractors who can kind of manage it and kind of live with that through the school year in a different manner. I mean, it would be no harm to table it, but the action you would take is to reject the bids and enter into competitive negotiations. And then you haven't really lost anything, because I can make the adjustments. I can potentially give you a smaller bite to take off, give us an option at a smaller package, and then you would have another option to consider the prices in 3 weeks. But I believe you have to reject these bids to do that.
The concern that I'm hearing is that you might be prepared to accept this bid if you had a higher degree of confidence in the work that Chippewa is offering to do. And if that piece of it can be supplemented at the next board meeting, a more current project list, or in the alternative, another subcontractor who might do the work.
But that is true.
And I think if the subcontractor changes, you probably would have to reject this bid. that incorporates that subcontractor. But if you want to do a more thorough evaluation of Chippewa, I think you could table this without rejecting it.
I'm just not sure that there's anything more thorough to find.
Yeah, but I would hate to lose the month.
I mean, we can always have a special meeting if we,
Well, we have a working session next week.
yeah, it depends on how
Obviously,
quickly you can get us more
obviously more
information.
I have somewhat struggled with the gentleman in the roofing to get a lot of the paperwork pieces. So, I mean, I don't doubt we can get whatever we need, but I can't really say what the time frame is. I mean, when I've evaluated.
See, even that concerns me.
Well,
Exactly.
and maybe I'm being too frugal, but I can tell you, if IMBUS would, or some of the other contractors would potentially make my life a whole lot easier on meetings and monitoring this project, but I was trying to capture the significant discount in the earlier timing that they were unique in offering. And understanding it was going to take us a higher level of management, but I was struggling, and Mr. Cummer and I and Dr. S, we talked, I mean, I was struggling to come in and recommend spending that premium to go to the next bid.
But if we reject, and you said that we could go to a competitive process, there may be some savings there.
Yes, kind of reset. I mean, based on what I'm hearing, it's not a bad option.
Sounds like our best option, is to do
Yeah.
something like that.
Because I'm not happy with this.
No.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
I'll be quiet.
I mean, there is a fairly high premium on going to the next one, but the thing that bothers me more is the timing of it, the year in the future, and I suppose, who knows what
Right.
what the economy is going to do in a year, and if we're locked in, we have that assurance anyway. But with the
But what
with
he's
IMBUS
saying is
or
that
any
they're
of the
giving
others.
him this possibility that they'll be started, but not a guarantee that they're gonna be completed
Right.
by then. So we may
Right.
find ourselves with a lower quality,
well, we don't have any
performance,
guarantee with the
and-
others either.
Right.
That's,
well,
I
except
mean,
that
that's-
we've worked with them before,
Yeah.
so we have that experience. I think the other thing that concerns me that I did not mention is they are doing that tapered system that you were talking about to fix the ponding issue, which I'm very familiar with because architects love flat roofs and owners hate them because they always pond and leak.
And collect leaves.
Yeah, and do all kinds of problem things. They were doing that at no charge, and the other three all had ranging from, I think, 50,000 to 85,000 to add that on. And
Yes.
so that worries me again that this bidder is
And
lowballing
that's
us.
why I wanted a letter from him stating it was included. I even asked the sales rep if it was included in their quote, but it was very fishy, Mr. Crummer and I, when we first opened
Yeah.
it. I mean,
I have a
That's
lot
just
of
hard to
concerns about
believe.
this
Yeah.
subcontractor.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
I guess I don't know if I've got direction yet, so I mean, based on the conversation I heard,
You can make your recommendation, but I'll make a motion.
well, how about you just make a motion then and skip the
Alrighty,
middleman?
we'll skip that.
Be happy to do
Because
that.
it sounds like
Okay.
we need
I'll make a
adjustment
motion that
here.
we reject the bids for the roofing project at the Campbell County Middle School.
Now, are
At this
we go-
time,
are we going to enter into competitive negotiations then, or?
And I can add that to it. And enter into competitive negotiation to the extent permitted by Kentucky Revised Statute. Thank you, Mr. Reed.
okay, we have a motion to reject the bid as presented
And enter into
and enter into competitive negotiations
as
as permitted by
statute.
Kentucky statutes.
Yes.
That is the motion before the board. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Fender?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
And Ms. Swin Pigler is yes. Our next item is the BG number 22-260, the Campbell County Schools paving for 2022. This is to award the bid and revise the BG 1.
Yes, Madam Chair, so this is part of the district's paving plan for 2022 that includes Campbell County High School, Riley, and Klein Elementaries. What's being recommended is a 1.5 inch overlay on the west area of the Campbell County High School parking lot, and the south looking at the south and to the south looking Pike entrance, and then also the front entrance to demolish the concrete out front and replace it. At Riley to do a seal coat, and then also a front sidewalk and curb installation with a demolition and a replacement, and seal coating at Klein Elementary. And alternate bid above the original paving was requested to include number one, a half-inch scratch coat course at the Campbell County High School, and alternate number two is to insert 3 islands in the student lot at Campbell County High School. And there's actually a picture that Mr. Hayes shared of that, and that was at my request in order to basically try to mitigate what I see as a safety issue at the high school, particularly in the evenings when we have basketball games and events in the auditorium, when we have multiple people that park inside of the turning areas in the roadway in front of the auditorium, which creates a hazard in the dark when people are trying to cross from the parking lot onto the sidewalks. And I've seen some near misses with some folks nearly getting hit because people are parking inside of the parking. They're parking beyond the parking lines into the roadway between the parking lot and the auditorium entrance, which it happens all the time during basketball games. And I would like to see the islands put in to help to discourage them from parking on the other side, hopefully creating better vision and better manage the traffic and not let, and hopefully deter folks from parking inside of those islands. One bid was received on March 31st, 2022. The bid was received from Regular Blacktop for the base bid and alternates number 1 and number 2. This revises the original BG1 with an increase of $140,903 more, as shown above. This is to be paid out of capital outlay, which is our typical use of those funds for our summer paving projects at a cost of $564,500, which we do have available to us for this project.
Boy, all these are coming in significantly higher. Is that just the market? You're fine.
Your turn again.
But certainly our estimating could take that into consideration so that when we were approving these projects, we would expect the cost to be more in line with what the actuality is.
I have concerns about the islands. I spent quite a bit of time unloading equipment from trailers in front of that part of the building, and those are going to cause issues with that process. I appreciate the safety concern, but I think we should look at something else that is going to cause some practical difficulties on that end of the building.
Are those islands, like from the edge of the island closest to the auditorium entrance, is that where the last line used to be in the parking?
Yeah, we weren't narrowing that drive lane any.
Okay.
Yes.
So
And I also put a drain under that was going to run all the way over the hill just so they didn't drool and, like a lot of times they do out on the pavement.
And if I've seen the unloading process you speak of.
Me too.
Yeah.
Do they still back up to the?
Yes, back the
Yeah.
trailer up to so it's perpendicular to the sidewalk. I
Would
guess
there
that's
be
where
room to back through those aisles, or?
there may be room, but they're 20 to 28 foot long trailers.
Yeah.
It would
Well, it's
cause some
typically
maneuvering
done
issues.
late hours though, isn't it?
Oh, wouldn't be when school's on.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
very late hours in a lot of cases.
Early in the morning,
Yeah.
afternoons. It's during the day. It's during the night. It's at all times.
Okay,
Depends on what's going on.
Depends on what's
yeah.
I have a question, I don't know. You said it was a safety issue. Do we do like an audit for safety? I mean, do they do something like that for the school?
They always have safety.
Yes, ma'am, they do.
Has this ever been brought up before?
Not in any of the reports we've had done recently.
Yeah, most of the audits are daytime, school attending. The safety audits usually address issues during the school day and daytime and don't really take into account evening activities so much.
I actually see kids just running over them like there's no tomorrow, so that's just me, but, and that is what, we're heading more to these islands than the actual,
So,
I don't know.
so there appears to be some concerns over alternate 2. I'm going to go back to alternate 1. Could you please describe for us the half-inch scratch course and what that
Yes, ma'am.
alternate is?
A scratch coat is kind of like a really thick primer. Like if you're going to paint a wall, a really thick primer coat, and then you sand it. So it takes, because if you just put 1.5 inches over a surface, you're going to just get exactly what you got 1.5 inches higher. What this does is it actually is kind of like dragging a knife across the cake with a little thin thing of icing. It kind of levels everything before you put the final. So there might be spots that you only put 1/4 inch down. There might be some spots you're putting 3/4 down. Any little imperfections, it takes out. And then you get an extra hard layer because the thinner and the more you roll it, the better you got.
So the scratch coat is over the existing?
Yes.
And then you put the overlay on top of that?
Yes, yes. Yeah, the scratch just kind of levels things prior to putting the 1.5 inches on.
Have we had enough settling out there that we think it's necessary?
It helps and it gives you some extra material. I mean, it's not a tremendous amount of settling, but it does fill cracks and do things of that nature.
And so why was that not just included in the base bid?
Dollars, I was very worried about the economy. When we put the bid together back in November, the estimate, I did talk to Rigler, who I assumed would be one of the better bidders.
And have bid on
He told me
everything.
to bump all my last unit prices 20%, and I did. And you know, this is kind of a situation. We had one bidder, but I think that's kind of the new norm because there's been so much. A lot of pavers have sold out, and there's kind of been other I think Bluegrass sold out, and a lot of them, and they've been kind of combining themselves and getting in the different markets. So this is not abnormal. We bid a few different ones this time of year, and we're having very limited amounts of bids on all of them. Or if there is a second bid, it's kind of off the radar. But we did pressure test with Rigler in November when we put this budget together, and my advice from them was to bump it 20%, and obviously there's lots been happening since November, December in pricing, especially with a fuel oil type commodity.
Is this a practice that if you would have put, say you built, like, we'll say Grant Slick, would you automatically put that 1.5 overlay on that driveway, parking lot?
The
No, it'd be
scratch
brand
coat,
new, so you
scratch
can't
coat is only
just
for
repave.
old blacktop to kind of
Okay.
level
Yeah,
things
when
out.
you repave.
You're basically buying extra tonnage, so you're buying 2 inches of asphalt over the lot instead of 1.5 inches. Now, I will say, when we put the bid together, there's a couple things I did. I actually added a drain from the time that we did the original BG. When I walked the lot, there's a lot of bleed out. If you just kind of get about halfway down the lot to 3/4 down. And so I did run a drain across it that goes over into a box. That's in the base bid, because I just didn't like how that was happening. But I take a very conservative stance when I show like any full depth repairs and any kind of things that are necessary. When the contractor marks things and does things, we do have an opportunity possibly to make some adjustments for the better if we don't need all the tonnage for everything.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Would you like me to just ask for a motion?
That's fine if you want to.
Is there a motion from the board?
I'm not willing to support the second option.
Well, I'll make a motion that we award the contract for the base bid and alternate number 1, the scratch course, to Riegler Blacktop for a total of, I can't do that math, 463, I think, would that be correct?
463.
463,000,
As presented.
and reject alternate number 2.
Okay, so the motion before the board is to accept the base bid and alternate number 1 and to reject alternate number 2 as presented. Had a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Fender?
Yes.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Swindigler is yes. Our next item is the BG number 22-202, the Campbell County Schools kitchen equipment replacement. This is to award the bid and revised BG 1.
Yes, Madam Chair, this project includes the installation of new electrical, gas, and or water service to the kitchens at Riley, Klein, Campbell Ridge, Campbell County Middle School, and Campbell County High School. The scope of the work includes new electrical sub-panels, cutting and extending water lines, new drain lines, piping, and adding emergency shutoff valves for the new and current equipment. One bid was received on March 31st, 2022. The bid received was from Schmidt Plumbing. This revises the original BG1 estimate by an increase of allowed $11,089, as shown below, from an original estimate of $114,174 to a project cost of $125,263.
Are there any questions or comments from the board?
And this is coming from the food service budget.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And the equipment is all here, ready to be installed. We just need to be able to hook it up and make it work.
So you might need this infrastructure. Any other questions or comments from the board? With no further questions or comments, Superintendent Russ, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, Madam Chair, I do. I'd like to recommend approval of the revised BG1 and award the bid to Schmidt Plumbing for BG number 22-202, Campbell County Schools kitchen equipment replacement as presented.
The board has heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion from the board?
I'll move to approve the revised BG 22-202 for the Campbell County Schools kitchen equipment replacement.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Fender?
Yes.
And Ms. Swindigler is yes. Our next item is the student accident insurance for 2022-23. This is to bid the award. Award the bid.
Award the bid.
The award.
Yes, Madam Chair. So this time of year, we typically put out to bid the student insurance costs for vendor for the following year. An invitation was put out to bid and advertised on the district website on March 9th of 2022. Invitations were also mailed to companies that had previously conducted similar business with Campbell County Schools. All bids were due on Friday, April 1st, 2022 at 12 p.m. Insurance companies were permitted to provide multiple plan options. Each plan was evaluated for cost, base coverage options, and catastrophic coverage. We received 2 bids, actually 2 different options of bids from Roberts Insurance and Investments. One for what we call Plan 1 at a price of $59,844.60, and the other one called Plan 3 at $55,494.60. Attaches a summary of the benefits comparison for each of the proposed plans and the district's current plan. Just as a note to the board and to the community, Assured Partners has provided services for the past 3 years through Liberty Mutual as a provider. Liberty Mutual and Assured Partners notified the district administration in February that they would no longer be providing any future student accident insurance plans. Roberts Insurance and Investments submitted our information and loss run data to multiple carriers. They submitted the best two bids those carriers provided. After evaluating both plans, it was determined that Plan 3 was the best option for the district. It offers the best bid price, but also maximums on physical therapy, outpatient services, which can result in better loss run costs. Just for the board's and the community's information, 2 years ago, our student insurance cost was approximately $65,000. This year, it's $53,000, so this is a slight increase in bid cost of $55,400.
Are there any questions or comments from the board? With no questions or comments, Superintendent Russ, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to recommend the approval of the Berkeley Plan 3 bid from Roberts Insurance and Investments for use in our student insurance as presented.
The board has heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion from the board?
I'll move approval for the student accident insurance.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Fender?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
And Ms. Von Bickler is yes. Our next item is the private carrier transportation request for Campbell County High School State Choral Assessment in Louisville. This is in Louisville, Kentucky. This is by a charter bus.
Yes, Madam Chair. Per Board Policy 09.36, the use of certificated common carrier service shall be authorized by the Board of Education on a case-by-case basis, and the reasons to justify such use shall be cited in the board minutes. Campbell County High School Chorale is requesting the use of a private carrier, executive transportation, for the state choral assessment and Conrad Caldwell Mansion Museum Tour on April 28th, 2022 in Louisville, Kentucky, since the travel times are outside of the regular school day, which makes it difficult for them to be transported by normal school day bus there and back and be able to do the evening or the afternoon transportation. Details of the events are attached to the field trip request, and we would like to request the board's approval for them to travel by common carrier. The cost will be mostly absorbed by the club activity funds at about $1,500, and students will be asked to pay $25 per student for the 30 students who are attending.
Are there any questions or comments from the board? With no questions or comments, Superintendent Russ, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to approve the private carrier transportation for the Campbell County High School Choral trip as presented.
The board has heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion from the board?
I will move approval of the use of private carrier transportation for the high school state choral assessment.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Fender?
Yes.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Von Bickler is yes. Our next item is a bus purchase per DERA rebate grant.
Yes, Madam Chair, we would like to recommend the purchase of the bus that coincides with the DARE rebate that we discussed and approved last month. So we're recommending the purchase of one Bluebird Forward Control 78-passenger bus for a cost of $113,920. It has a base cost of $108,520, and the inclusion as accessories of a radio, AM/FM radio with a PA, the left-hand mid-mount luggage rack, a right-hand mid-mount luggage rack, luggage gas shocks with dual door, the light transmittance tinted windows, the Esper Series heater, a trash can, Roscoe breakaway mirrors, the rear mud flaps, which I'm sure folks in the community following behind that bus will enjoy or appreciate, and an upgrade of to a 260 horsepower Cummins engine, which is an upgrade from the 250 horsepower Cummins engine. So all of those accessories added to the base would be $113,920. We are following a depreciation schedule to keep our fleet at 74 operational buses that meets the needs of the students and the transportation department. During fiscal year 23, the district is scheduled to replace 5 school buses. This purchase is for one of the school buses since we have received the DARA rebate grant. Terms of the grant require the order of a new bus within 90 days of award, and that was awarded February 28th, in order to receive the $20,000 rebate that we discussed last month. The current bus delivery timeline after receiving the order is estimated at 9 to 12 months. The district does not pay for the bus until it has been delivered and inspected. This fall, we will only need to order 4 buses towards our replacement schedule for this school year.
Are there any questions or comments from the board?
So basically, we're because of the grant, we're ordering one early rather than in the fall.
Exactly
And
right.
we'll still order the other 4 of the 5 we would normally do in the fall.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments from the board? With no further questions or comments, Superintendent Russ, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to recommend the purchase of 1 bus as presented.
The board has heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion?
I'll move approval of the purchase of the 1 bus per the rebate grant.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Fender?
Yes.
Ms. Wendickler is yes. Our next item is the change of facility request for Campbell County High School.
Yes, Madam Chair, the administration of Campbell County, well, first of all, the board policy 05.11 requires board approval for school building alterations. The administration of Campbell County High School and athletic director have requested to have 2 gates, traffic control gates, installed on the campus to assist with traffic control and improve safety during events hosted at the stadium, and they've attached a map with X's indicating the spots where those gates will be placed. The Food Service Department and Administration are also requesting a building modification of the food court area within the cafeteria. This modification, actually the kitchen area, this modification would widen the food court entrance door, remove a portion of the small wall, and add a single door between the cafeteria and the kitchen area. A double entrance door will provide better student access to the food court area. Removing the small portion of the interior wall will provide better visibility and traffic flow into and out of the food court area. Inserting a single door between the kitchen and cafeteria will give the kitchen staff direct access to the cafeteria with equipment without disrupting student checkout lines located at the exit doors. And I'd like to ask you to please see the drawing to help to demonstrate what you're looking at. So that food court area is actually the kitchen area, and then you've got the cafeteria. So that's the interior of the serving area within. It helps them basically get in and out and navigate the kitchen area and the serving area. This is for both of those 2 pieces. The gates we're expecting to be about $5,000, which will be paid out of the Buildings and Grounds budget from this year's budget, and then for the alteration to the food court would be approximately $15,000, which will be paid from the food service fund. These estimated prices include material, labor, equipment, and the contracted service work to get both of those items done. You also have I guess you've got both pictures, and then you also got a letter from Mr. Ritter as well, kind of describing the need as well.
We do. So I have a question about the gates that we're recommending, since we don't have a picture of what those gates would look like. My concern would be is that, as I look at that is, how do we access the softball field in case of an emergency vehicle needing to get back there, in case there was an accident, you know, and if we have that gate closed in that area, how do we get those emergency vehicles back to that softball field?
Mr. Ritter can concur with me, I guess, but I mean, I think during the softball events and different things like that, that gate would be open. Typically during big events we're talking about, you know, football events, things that are occurring at the stadium, preventing traffic from flowing in that area back there. Is that correct, Mr. Ritter?
And I will also add that there's always a site manager at every game, so if there was something locked at any particular time due to the event, there would be a site manager that could provide these services.
And our locks that if it was locked with an actual lock, the locks that we use are universal, so we have everybody has a common key.
That would be my only concern, is that, you know, obviously, we want to make sure that those are accessible during baseball or softball games, and emergency vehicles have to be able to get back there in case we need that.
Yeah, I would assume during those events that
They would be open.
those would remain open. It was, the request more was for larger events, being able to control traffic when we had larger volumes at events, track meets, football games, different things like that.
Band competitions.
So
Yes.
my question is, the gate on the upper level there by the parking, the two big parking lots, is that to keep people from coming back down? Is that the
Yes.
idea?
Yes.
And then the other one is to just keep traffic out of there for football games?
Yeah.
Because that's where some of the staff parking is used there. Would that parking still be used, or?
Yeah, we can still use that parking, it would just be easier to control who's coming back. Because when you have the temporary barriers, people get out of their cars and move them, and then they just follow their.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you describe what these gates are gonna look like?
I would imagine, what I had envisioned was just a typical traffic control gate. Usually it's set on like a 4-inch galvanized post with a 2-inch, galvanized gate that goes across, and typically it's 2 arms on each side that closes in the middle, and you're able to lock it, and there's typically a chain associated with it right there, links.
Can we make them purple?
You can paint galvanized, but it's a chore, but we can do that.
You don't have traffic control issues coming up to the stadium from the student lot?
We have temporary barriers that we typically keep down at the bottom of the hill from coming up the hill past that stadium. I think,
Is it just more manned? You normally are manning that so people don't knock it over like you do with the other? Okay.
yes.
Okay. I was just curious why you didn't want one in that area too.
I think that maybe down the road, we might like something in that area that maybe.
A bit more elaborate.
A little bit more aesthetically.
Yes.
appealing than
Yeah.
Traffic control arms.
Yes.
That's my concern with these. You know, we have such a nice facility out there and
Right.
everything that,
We're not gonna,
let's put some aesthetically
cattle
appealing gates out there.
we'll get something nice. We'll make sure it's not a cattle gate. Yes, it will not be a cattle
You
gate.
won't,
I promise
you won't put a cattle gate.
I promise you, it will not be a cattle gate.
Yeah,
Oh.
this is purple.
Any other questions, comments from the board? If no further questions or comments, Superintendent Russ, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to recommend approval of the change of facility requests at Campbell County High School as presented.
Board has heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion from the board?
I'll move approval of the change of facility request for Campbell County High School.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Fender?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
And Ms. Swinbigler is yes. Our next item is the Grants Lake Water Waste Treatment Plant. This is the AIA standard form of agreement between the owner and architect.
Yes, Madam Chair, we'd like to recommend the approval of the standard form of agreement between the owner and architect for GRW Engineers Incorporated for the waste water treatment plant package design and installation at, or oversight, I guess, at Grand Slick, what would be the new Grand Slick Elementary site at Plum Creek. For some history, on December 13th, 2021, the Board of Education agreed to contract with GRW Engineers to provide design, bid, construction administration, and resident project representation services related to the design of the new Grand Slick Elementary package wastewater treatment plant. The Kentucky Department of Education is requiring the use of all standard documents and all protocols in order to move forward with this project. This agreement has been reviewed by the board attorney.
Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Did we include the contingency that we had talked about? for the funding?
I don't believe it's in there, but I think it is, would be appropriate to include it as a contingency. At least as I understood it from Dr. Russ, that if the money provided for the local assistance through the state does not materialize or is not received, that's the contingency that we're talking about.
Yes. So what we would actually be approving is this agreement with
the
that additional contingency, that if for some reason the project is delayed or because of the lack of state funding.
So originally, that septic system was on the opposite side of the building from where this is gonna be, is that correct?
Yes, the original design that we were exploring was a conditioning and septic system that required several acres plus an additional several acres and was about double the cost of a regular treatment plant. The treatment plant is kind of like what's behind the current Grant Slick. We were told it is very difficult to get permits for treatment plants, which it is. We did not have time to run I will say, use the word risk lightly, but we did not have a chance, if the project was advancing on the original schedule, to go with anything other than a solution we knew would provide for sewer. When the project was then put on pause, we said, well, you know what, if there's a very good 90% chance of getting a permit for a treatment plant, which is a lot better long-term solution, a lot less initial investment, a lot less maintenance cost, and it doesn't occupy the several acres plus another several acres, we could probably skid the building back. Let's go ahead and bring in somebody that knows how to do that piece. GRW was the one that we were able to find that really specializes in these packaged treatment plants. So we then talked to the Department of Education, and they recommend bringing them on using the standard AIA document. Even though they're an engineer, not an architect, they would be brought on. And what we're trying to do now is they've done their initial reconnaissance, we've had the surveying done, we've had the environmental work done, and what they're doing is they have to get to a certain level of design before they can submit to the state for a permit. Because our goal right now is not to build it, it's to get the permit. Because once you have the permit in hand, then we know what the solution is. Because I'm a little reticent to design the building until I know exactly, you can start it on it, but you really need to know where that building is going to be positioned and what your sewer strategy is going to be. And the initial schedules that we got from GRW is this is something that we probably won't have in hand until August. And that was starting back, when we originally started the conversations in January. So we said, well, get us an agreement, give us a modest budget to do just the design work so we can get the drawings to a completion. They are going to submit. This is really what they do. I'm just kind of making sure everything is moving. And the goal is to get this submitted from the state and get a permit in hand by August so we can go with the standalone treatment plant package that would allow us to free up 8 acres for all practical purposes, and then I think put the building in a little better position. So that's all we're trying to do now. We're not really committing to the build right now. That I would envision that this would merge itself into one BG1 in the end. It would be a line item for the package unit, and it would be a separate bid. So you would bid the building, and then you would bid this as a separate line item below it. Whole separate contractor. It's a whole separate skill set when you start dealing with those kind of systems.
Yeah, that was my question. By putting it over there where you have it in your drawing, that frees up that big area.
And it's the best area.
And that way we have some useful property to use at a further time. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? With no further questions or comments, Superintendent Russ, do you have a recommendation?
Almost. Okay, I would recommend approval of the AIA standard form of agreement between owner and architect with GRW Engineers Incorporated for a wastewater treatment plant package at Grant Slick Elementary, Plum Creek, with a contingency included which protects the district's possible inability to access state funds for the GLE project as presented.
This might be a time to say some.
Yeah.
After that explanation. We've heard the recommendation of the superintendent. Is there a motion from the board?
I'll move approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Fender?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
And Ms. Wendigler is yes. Next item on the agenda is the superintendent contract. First of all, I want to thank our KSBA consultant, Don Martin, for coordinating the superintendent search and guiding us through the entire process. I also want to thank our screening committee members for their time and efforts in reviewing the applications, conducting interviews, and recommending the candidates to the board. And at this time, I would like to recommend that the board approve the contract as presented for Dr. Shelley Wilson to be the Campbell County School District Superintendent beginning July 1, 2022 for a 4-year term. Dr. Wilson, are you interested in that? Just kidding. Is there a motion from the board?
I'll move approval of the superintendent contract.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Fender?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
And Ms. Wendigler is yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Dr. Wilson. Next item on our agenda is the consent agenda, which includes the minutes, the addendum bills, the regular bills, the treasurer's report, the leave of absence request, the BG number 20-103 for Klein Elementary Elevator, this is the BG 5, the SFCC offer of assistance for technology, the student shortened school day and week, and the Frisk MOA for 2022-24. Are there any questions from the board regarding any of our consent agenda items? With no questions or comments, Superintendent Russ, do you have a recommendation?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to recommend approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Board has heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there a motion from the board?
I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Fender?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
And Ms. Wendigler is yes. Next item is adjournment. Is there a motion from the board to adjourn?
I move for adjournment.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This must be a student who needs her things.